Hello and good morning, friends. Welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, everybody of us has a liking or disliking for a particular thing or things. And taking this concept into mind, today we have decided to conduct a lecture on a particular topic under the series Marketing Management, and the topic is consumer behavior. What is consumer behavior? Each of us contribute to the consumer behavior, and this consumer behavior further put an impact on the manufacturers, on the producers, what to produce, how to produce, when to produce. So dear friends, today in this session we are going to understand about what consumer behavior is, how it helps in market segmentation, as well as how it helps the manufacturer and the producer to launch a product into the market. And for this very discussion, we have again with us in our studios Dr. Subhash Kakkar.
Hello.
Dr. Subhash Kakkar is an academician who visits various universities and college, where he talks to the students, where he asks them on what kind of subjects would they like to have lectures. So keeping their view into consideration, today we have decided for the lecture on consumer behavior, and we would be conducting more sessions on consumer behavior for you, so that it becomes easier for you to get in-depth knowledge on this particular lecture, that is on this particular topic. So without wasting any time, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. Subhash Kakkar. Dr. Kakkar, welcome to the EduSec lecture.
Thank you, Geetika, and welcome viewers to today's lecture. It is part of our series of lectures on marketing management, and today's topic is consumer behavior. And under this topic, we shall be discussing a lot of concepts which are related to consumer behavior. We see that people buy different types of products to suit their requirement, to fulfill their needs. We can satisfy their needs with one particular product, but their choice is different. Suppose we want to have a shirt. One can have the shirt of light shade, one can have a shirt of darker shade. Why people like light shades? Why people like dark shades? Why people like funky shirts? Why people like formal shirts? What is the reason behind the choice of a particular brand? So we are going to discuss all these things in our today's lecture, consumer behavior. We shall be putting light on different aspects of consumer behavior with respect to consumers, whether it is a product or whether it is a service. When we talk about the service industry, suppose we want to use a taxi, or in other words, we want to go from one place to another place. We have different choices available. We can use public transport like bus, we can go by metro, and we can hire a taxi. So choice is with us. What is the reason of selection a particular means of transport? All these are related to the consumer behavior, and today we are going to discuss in depth, and we shall be devoting more lectures on this particular topic so that our viewers can understand in depth the basics of consumer behavior, so that they can make use of all these concepts in their working also. For preparing this lecture, I have taken help from different books, particularly a book by Kotler and material available on the internet by Management Study Group, and there are other materials which are available on internet. I have taken help from those materials also. I am thankful to all those people whose help I have taken in preparing this lecture. I hope viewers will be able to understand this particular topic in detail. Topics to be discussed today are What is the consumer behavior? Its meaning and concept, consumer decision process, cultural factors affecting behavior, social factors affecting behavior, personal factors affecting behavior, psychological factors affecting behavior. All this we are going to discuss today. What is consumer behavior? Its meaning and important concepts. Before understanding consumer behavior, let us first go through few more terminologies. The first one is, who is a consumer? Any individual who purchases goods and services from the market for his, her end use is called a consumer. In simpler words, a consumer is one who consumes goods and services available in the market. We have to take into account both goods and the services which are being used by the consumer. So, we now understand the meaning of consumer. I think it is stuck.
We are continuously making an attempt over here.
Yeah. Yeah, what is consumer interest? Every customer shows inclination towards particular product and services. Consumer interest is nothing but willingness of consumers to purchase products and services as per their taste, need, and of course pocket. Here in this slide we have discussed three things. One is a taste, other is a need, and funds available with the consumer. To satisfy a particular need, there are so many options available. What option the consumer is going to use, it depends upon the behavior of the consumer. What is consumer behavior then? Consumer behavior is a branch which deals with the various stages a consumer goes through before purchasing products or services for his end use. Now, we have to discuss, why do you think an individual buys a product? What is the reason the people go to the market and finally they buy a product? What is the reason behind it? Whether it is need, whether it is social status, and whether it is a gifting purpose. So, we have to see what is the reason the consumer buys a product. Why do you think an individual does not buy a product? In contrast, we have to see why people do not buy a product. No requirement, income, budget, financial constraints are there, or the taste is the constraint. So, what is the reason why people do not buy a product? We have to see it thoroughly. When do you think consumers purchase a product? Is it a festive reason? Is it a birthday? Is it anniversary or marriage or other social or special occasions? There are in fact several factors which influence buying decision of a consumer, ranging from psychological, social, economic, and so on. The study of consumer behavior explains as to why and why not a consumer buys a product, when a consumer buys a product, and how a consumer buys a product. So, all these we are going to see thoroughly and in depth. During Christmas, the buying tendencies of consumers increase. During Diwali days, also buying process increases as compared to other months. In the same way, during Valentine's week, individuals are often seen purchasing gifts for their partners. Fluctuations in the financial markets and recession decrease the buying capacity of individuals. So, we are discussing all these factors which prompt the consumer to buy a product or not to buy a product. In a layman's language, consumer behavior deals with the buying behavior of individuals. The main catalyst which triggers the buying decision of an individual is need for a particular product or service. So, we have used the word need. Need is a basic factor why the consumer buys a product. Consumer purchase products and services as and when need arises. So, need is the most fundamental thing in purchase of any product. So, consumer, need and purchase, this is a sequence in which the purchase process takes place. Following are the sources of information: personal sources, commercial sources, public sources. Personal experience is also some sort of information which the consumer has before he wants to purchase a product. Perception also plays an important role in influencing the buying decision of consumers. Buying decisions of consumers also depend on the following factors, and these factors are messages, advertisements, promotional materials. A consumer goes through also called selective exposure. So, not all promotional materials and advertisements excite a consumer. A consumer does not pay attention to everything he sees. He is interested in only what he wants to see. Such behavior is called selective attention. So, during our daily routine, we see lot of things. We see lot of things on the TV channels. We see things on the roads, on the hoardings, on the advertisement billboards. But we don't retain all those things in our mind or in our heart. We retain only those things in which we are interested, and this is called selective attention. We give attention to only selected things which we like to see. And similarly, if we hear something, most of the things we try to ignore. We retain only those things with us in which we are interested. So, consumer interpretation refers to how an individual perceives a particular message. A consumer would certainly buy something which appeals him the most. He would remember the most relevant and meaningful message, also called a selective retention. He would obviously not remember something which he has nothing to do with his need. Even if we see something, we see only that particular thing in which we are interested. The thing in which we are interested, that will get retained in our mind, will remember it forever. Even if we talk about memory, we normally say that I have a weak memory, but we do remember those things for times to come in which we are interested. So, our memory is not weak, we retain only things in which we are interested, and we have a good memory in that particular case. Stages in consumer decision making process. An individual who purchases products and services from the market for his or her own personal consumption is called a consumer. We have been defining the consumer time and again, so that our viewers understand the meaning of consumer, and they should retain this definition in their minds, because a lot of things are connected with this particular statement only. To understand the complete process of consumer decision making, let us first go through the following example. Suppose Mr. X went to a nearby retail store to buy a laptop for himself. The store manager showed him all the latest models, and after a few rounds of negotiations, X immediately selected one for himself. In the above example, X is the consumer and the laptop is the product which X wanted to purchase for his end use. Now, here we have defined the product as well as the consumer. Now, why do you think X went to the nearby store to purchase a new laptop? The answer is very simple. X needed a laptop. In other words, it was actually X's need to buy a laptop which took him to the store. So, in this example, we have defined three things. One is the product, consumer, and the purchasing process. In the purchasing process, need is the most fundamental thing. Unless we have a need for a particular product or service, we will not buy this product, we will not use this service. So, need is there. Mr. X had a need for laptop, he went to the market, he negotiated it for, and then he finally purchased the laptop. The need to buy a laptop can be due to any of the following reasons. His old laptop was giving him problems. He wanted a new laptop to check his personal mails at home. He wanted to gift a new laptop to his wife, his friend, or anybody else. He needed a new laptop to start his own business. There can be any reason, but the need has been created, and need has prompted him to go to the market, go to the dealer, negotiate with him, and finally buy the laptop. The store manager showed X all the samples available with him and explained him the features and specifications of each model, and this is called information. X, before buying the laptop, checked few other options as well. The information can come from various other sources such as newspaper, websites, magazines, advertisements, billboards, etc. Now, we have discussed the information and the sources of information. There are various sources of information, and in current scenario, we have many new things available to give us the information for a particular product or a particular service. This explains the consumer buying decision process. A consumer goes through several stages before purchasing a product or service. So, it starts with the need. From it, it goes to information gathering or search for information, evaluation of alternatives. So, alternatives are available and they are evaluated. Purchase of product / service, post purchase evaluation. This is the entire process of buying this decision. So, unless this process is followed, nothing can happen. Our purchasing process is followed in this sequence only. Now, we will discuss certain steps. Step number 1, need is the most important factor which leads to buying of products and services. Need, in fact, is a catalyst which triggers the buying decision of individuals. An individual who buys cold drink or a bottle of mineral water identifies his/her need as thirst. So, need is the most fundamental thing which prompts us to take further actions. So, first step is need identification. The second step, when an individual recognizes his need for a particular product, he tries to gather as much information as he can. Second step in the entire process is the information gathering. There are different sources of information, and one tries to use these sources of information so that he can have different alternatives available to fulfill his personal need. Then he gets involved in those alternatives and evaluates all the alternatives with respect to his own need. Finally, he decides one particular alternative. An individual can acquire information through any of the following sources. Personal sources, he might discuss his need with his friends, family members, co-workers and other acquaintances. Commercial sources are advertisements, sales, people. In X's case, it was the store manager who gave him all the information. Packaging of a particular product in many cases prompt individuals to buy the same, displays, props, mannequins, etc. All these are sources of information. Sometimes the store in charge or the department store in charge gives the information, detailed information regarding the different alternatives available, so that it helps the consumer to take a decision on the product or service he must buy. Public sources are there, newspapers, radio and magazines these are called public sources. Experiential sources, individual's own experience, prior handling of a particular product. X would definitely purchase the same laptop again if he had already used a similar one. If we have used a product in the past, we have some experience regarding that particular product and we will try to use the same brand in future also. That also is one source of information, and this is called experiential source. Step 3, the next step is to evaluate the various alternatives available in the market. An individual, after gathering relevant information, tries to choose the best option available as per his need, taste and pocket. Now his need is to be satisfied, his taste is to be satisfied and his pocket is to be seen whether it allows to purchase a particular product or not. He has different alternatives available. Now with respect to his need, he will decide which alternative he is going to use. Then he is to see that his own pocket or the funds available with him, whether they allow to buy a particular product or not. So based on his funds availability, he will decide on a particular alternative. So his taste also decides, his need also decides, his pocket also decides regarding forming on a particular decision regarding the alternatives available. Step 4, after going through all the above stages, customer finally purchases the product. Final decision, all alternatives evaluated, a final decision is taken on one particular product and finally he buys that product. The purchase of the product is followed by post-purchase evaluation. This we are now talking under step 5 when the purchase is over. Under step 5, the purchase of the product is followed by post-purchase evaluation. Post-purchase evaluation refers to a customer's analysis whether the product was useful to him or not, whether the product fulfilled his need or not. Under this step, which is taken after the purchase has been carried out, now the consumer starts using the product, starts using the service. Now he will see his own experience regarding the use of a particular product or a particular service. He will make his own thinking, his own reaction regarding the product, whether his need is being fulfilled to the fullest extent or not, whether the product as it was stated is giving you the purpose or not, or solving your problem or not. So he evaluates after purchasing and after using the product. However, in such cases, steps such as information search and evaluation of alternatives are generally missing. These two steps are important when an individual purchases expensive products, services such as laptop, cars, mobile phones and so on. Cultural factors affecting consumer behavior. Now we will throw some light on cultural factors also which affect the consumer behavior, and we will see what are those cultural factors, what impact they can impart on the decision process of the consumer. Consumer behavior deals with the study of buying behavior of consumers. Consumer behavior helps us understand why and why not an individual purchases goods and services from the market. What is the reason behind it? There are several factors which influence the buying decision of consumers, cultural factors being one of the most important factors. And what are these factors? What are these cultural factors we are going to discuss right now? What are the cultural factors? Cultural factors comprise of set of values and ideologies of a particular community or group of individuals. It is the culture of an individual which decides the way he/she behaves. In simpler words, the culture is nothing but values of an individual and what an individual learns from his parents and relatives as a child becomes his culture. So, what is a culture? Culture is something like experience we gather when we are brought up in a family. In the family, we have close relatives, our brothers, sisters, father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, etc. Then we have our relatives, then we have our friends also. Most important influence is from our own family. The values what we gain from our family members become our culture, and this adds to the cultural factor of the consumer behavior. Now, example is in India, people still value joint family system and family ties. Children in India are conditioned to stay with their parents till they get married, as compared to foreign countries where children are more independent and leave their parents once they start earning a living for themselves. And this again shows a particular scene of a cultural factor. India versus other Western countries. In India, children like to stay with the family till they are married, and even after marriage also they stay with their parents. If they are separated only after marriage. But in Western countries, the children get separated from their families even at an early age. When they start earning, they get separated from their parents. So, this is a different culture, and this cultural factor adds impact to the consumer behavior. So, we have to see what all these cultural factors are there which are important to take a decision on the consumer behavior. Cultural factors have significant effect on an individual's buying decision. Every individual has different sets of habits, beliefs and principles which he/she develops from his family status and background. What they see from their childhood becomes their culture. As we have already discussed, what we see during a growing period from our childhood to adulthood, we see something in the family, and that becomes our cultural value, and that decides our behavior while purchasing a particular item. Let us understand the influence of cultural factors on buying decision of individuals with the help of various examples. Females staying in West Bengal or Assam would prefer buying saris as compared to westerns. Similarly, a male consumer would prefer a dhoti kurta during auspicious ceremonies in eastern India, as this is what their culture is. Girls in South India wear skirts and blouses as compared to girls in North India who are more into salwar kameez. This also adds impact on the consumer behavior, because the cultural factors have an impact on the decision, on the choice of clothes what we wear. We have discussed different parts of the country having different cultural factors, and then finally having different tastes. One prefers to have saris, one prefers to have skirt and blouse, and different choices are available, and different demographic reasons are there for different choices of the consumer, and this adds again to the cultural factor. Our culture says that we need to wear traditional attire on marriages, and this is what we have been following since years. People in North India prefer breads over rice, which is a favorite with people in South India and East India. Subcultures are also available. When we talk about culture, we cannot forget the subculture also. Each culture further comprises of various subcultures as religion, age, geographical location, gender, status, etc. And these are subcultures. Religion, Hindu, Muslim, Sikhism, Jainism, etc. All these religions also add value to the cultural factor. A Hindu bride wears red, maroon or a bright color lehenga or sari, whereas a Christian bride wears a white gown on her wedding. It is against Hindu culture to wear white on auspicious occasions. Muslims, on the other hand, prefer to wear green on important occasions. Now, we are talking about the color of our dress. And this color has a definite meaning on our tastes and our requirements. And our requirements and tastes are developed through our religions also. We discussed Christian wearing white and Muslim wearing green and a Hindu wearing reds. So, our religion also tells us what we are going to use in auspicious days and other days. A 60-year-old individual would not like something which is too bright and colorful. He would prefer something which is more sophisticated and simple. On the other hand, a teenager would prefer funky dresses and loud colors. So, our tastes are different depending on our age also. In India, we have seen widows are expected to wear whites. Widows wearing bright colors are treated with suspicion. So, our religion also prompts us to have a particular taste for a particular dress or a particular food. Our age also decides what we should wear and what we should not wear. Barring a certain case, but we follow our age-long traditions in deciding our color, style of the dress and the fashion of the dress. Status now. We are discussing the cultural factors. Status, upper class, middle class and lower class. Our society is divided into three classes: upper class, middle class and lower class, depending upon the status, depending upon the earning potential. People from upper class generally have tendency to spend on luxurious items such as expensive gadgets, cars, dresses, etc. You would hardly find an individual from a lower class spending money on high-end products. Here we are discussing the earning potential and the surplus income available with the consumer. If the surplus income available with the consumer is high, his own income is very high, he will try to buy high value items, expensive items, even he will use perfumes, etc. Whereas, if your income is low, you will use this money to satisfy your daily needs. You will not like to use this money on expensive things like perfumes, etc. So, our earning potential also decides what we should buy and what we should not buy. If our income is low, only necessities of life we will like to buy, but we will ignore buying high valued and expensive items. We will try to avoid high end purchase items. So, our status also decides what we should buy and what we should not buy. A person who finds it difficult to make ends meet would rather prefer spending on items necessary for survival. So, in individuals from middle class segment generally are more interested in buying products which would make their futures secure. So, we have to fulfill our needs, we have to fulfill our necessities. If our income is low, we will try to see that our survival is not at stake. We will not spend money on expensive things, rather we like to save money so that it can be used in future when the need arises. Gender, male and female. People generally make fun of males buying fairness creams, as in our culture only females are expected to buy and use beauty products. Males are perceived to be strong and tough, who look good just the way they are. The gender also decides the use of particular products. Some products are exclusively for females and some of the products are exclusively for males. As we have discussed in this slide, the beauty products are normally used by females in our country. People using or males using beauty products are not considered good because the males must look strong and they should not be using beauty products. But nowadays, companies are manufacturing and producing different beauty products for the males and different beauty products for females, just to promote their products and to increase their sales. And males are also prompted to use beauty products exclusively manufactured for males. Now, we are going to discuss personal factors affecting consumer behavior. Consumer behavior helps us understand the buying tendencies and spending patterns of consumers. Not all individuals would prefer to buy similar products. Now, we will discuss personal factors. A common need is there. Two individuals have a particular common need or a same need or a similar need, but they will use different products to satisfy their needs. What is the reason for that? Maybe it is a personal factor. Personally, one consumer likes one type of product, other consumer likes second type of product to satisfy their same need or a similar need. So, we are going to discuss all these factors which are known as personal factors. Consumer behavior deals with as to why and why not an individual purchases particular products and services. Personal factors play an important role in affecting consumer buying behavior. Here we are going to discuss why people buy a particular product, why people do not buy a particular product, and that depends upon the consumer behavior. With respect to personal factors, we are going to discuss right now. Occupation. The occupation of an individual plays a significant role in influencing his or her buying decision. An individual's nature of job has a direct influence on the products and brands he picks for himself / herself. Now, we are going to throw light on the occupation of the people. Now, we see that occupation of the people decide what sort of product they must be using. Sometimes occupation is such that we cannot use tight dresses. Occupation is such that we must use loose dresses. So, occupation decides what we must be using. So, we have to have look on our occupation while deciding a particular product. Now, suppose X was working with an organization as chief executive officer, while Y, X's friend, now a retired professor, went to a nearby school as a part-time faculty. X always looked for premium brands which would go with his designation, whereas Y preferred brands which were not very expensive. X was really conscious about the clothes he wore, the perfume he used, the watch he wore, whereas Y never really bothered about all this. In this example, we have two consumers, two customers having different personal factor as far as the occupation is concerned. Their occupations are different. One is CEO, almost head of any organization. Other fellow is retired professor working as a faculty in a school. Their status is different, their occupation is different. CEO's occupation tells him to use something which becomes a choice for others also. He is to distinguish himself from others. He is to separate himself from others as far as the choice of products he uses is concerned, because people will try to follow him. On the other hand, a professor is a common person, is a common occupation. He is one among many, and CEO is also top of the organization. So that is the difference between occupation of people, and the occupation decides what people should buy. CEO will try to use high-end products, perfumes he will be using, which he will be getting from abroad. But in the case of professor, the professor will not be using the perfume at all. Even if he uses a perfume, he will be using a local one. Similarly, if you talk about the watch, CEO will like to use an imported watch, professor will like to use locally available watch. So our occupation decides our choice also. Now that is the importance of one's designation. As a CEO of an organization, it was really essential for X to wear something really elegant and unique for others to look up to him. A CEO, or for that matter a senior professional, can never afford to wear cheap labels and local brands to work. An individual's designation and his nature of work influences buying decision. You would never find a low-level worker purchasing business suits, ties for himself. An individual working on the shop floor can't afford to wear premium brands every day to work. Here we are talking about the occupation, designation of the person. Sometimes our job also does not allow us to wear a particular dress. If we are working at a shop floor, working on the machine, we cannot use suits, but we shall be using working dress at that time, so that we are comfortable in working on the machine, and that dress should be safe also. So our working conditions also decide what to wear and what not to wear. Our working conditions of our occupation decides the use of a particular dress, use of a particular product, and our occupation is a personal factor which decides our behavior as a consumer. College goers and students would prefer casuals as compared to professionals who would be more interested in buying formal shirts and trousers? Again, we are talking about the occupation. Students will not like to use neckties, suits, etc. They will like to use only informals. They will like to come in jeans, etc. But professionals will be using professional dresses, corporate dresses when they are on the job. Age, again we are discussing the personal factors only. Age and human life cycle also influence the buying behavior of consumers. Teenagers would be more interested in buying bright and loud colors as compared to a middle-aged or elderly individual who would prefer decent and subtle designs. Again, now age is a factor which decides the nature and color of a particular dress. When we are old, we don't try to use bright colors, but we are young. During our youth age, we'll try to use bright colors. We like bright colors, we prefer bright colors. A bachelor would prefer spending lavishly on items like beer, bikes, music, clothes, parties, clubs, and so on. A young single would hardly be interested in buying a house, property, insurance policies, gold, etc. An individual who has a family, on the other hand, would be more interested in buying something which would benefit his family and make their future secure. The contrast is there. Old age and the young age, bachelor and a married person. Bachelor will not care for buying insurance policies. A married person will rather be interested in having insurance policies so that his own family is benefited. The married person will like to buy something which is used by entire family. A bachelor will like to have products which are exclusively for his own use. Economic condition. The buying tendency of an individual is directly proportional to his income, earnings per month. How much an individual brings home decides how much he spends and on which products. Here we are discussing the income of a person, economic condition of a person, which is a deciding factor for purchase of a particular product. Income is there, we have a surplus income and we will go for market, we will go and decide to buy a product. We should have something surplus with us so that we can buy the product. So, the main thing is income, economic condition and availability of funds to buy a product. Individuals with high income would buy expensive and premium products as compared to individuals from middle and lower income group who would spend mostly on necessary items. You would hardly find an individual from a low income group spending money on designer clothes and watches. He would be more interested in buying grocery items or products necessary for his survival. Again, we are discussing the income part. Low income group people will try to spend money on the survival only. They will not spend money on high end products, whereas high income group will like to have high end products so that they can show themselves in the society as being placed at a higher platform. Lifestyle, again it is an important personal factor. Lifestyle, a term proposed by Austrian psychologist Alfred Adler in 1929, refers to the way an individual stays in the society. It is really important for some people to wear branded clothes, whereas some individuals are really not brand conscious, and this is only because of our lifestyle. So, under lifestyle, an individual staying in a posh locality needs to maintain his status and image. An individual's lifestyle is something to do with his style, attitude, perception, his social relations, and immediate surroundings. Lifestyle, first income is there. We are in the high income group. We like to stay in a good posh locality. And the good posh locality, then finally we will see that we maintain the lifestyle of a posh locality, because we can afford, we can have a particular lifestyle. So, lifestyle is also important in deciding the behavior of us as consumers. Personality. An individual's personality also affects his buying behavior. Every individual has his, her own characteristic, personality traits which reflect in his, her buying behavior. A fitness freak would always look for fitness equipments, whereas a music lover would happily spend on musical instruments, CDs, concerts, musical shows, etc. So, our personality also decides the nature and type of products what we are going to buy as consumers. Now, we will discuss psychological factors affecting consumer behavior. Consumer behavior deals with the study of buying behavior of consumers. Let us understand the effect of psychological factors on consumer behavior. Motivation. X went to a nearby restaurant and ordered pizza for herself. Why did X buy pizza? Answer is simple. She was feeling hungry and wanted to eat something, and she bought pizza. In the above example, hunger was the motivating factor for X to purchase pizza. There are several other factors which motivate individuals to purchase products and services. An individual who is thirsty would definitely not mind spending on soft drinks, packaged water, juice, and so on. Recognition and self-esteem also influence the buying decision of individuals. Why do people wear branded clothes? It is an important question and we must answer it. Individuals prefer to spend on premium brands and unique merchandise for others to look up to them. Certain products become their status symbol and people know them by their choice of picking up products that are exclusively. Particular perfume is named after a particular personality. An individual who wears an imported watch would never purchase a local watch, as this would be against his image. So, a particular person has an image in the society. So, as per his own image, he will decide on the products and on the brands of the products he is going to use. Perception. What is perception? What an individual thinks about a particular product or service is his or her perception towards the same. For someone, a particular laptop might be the best laptop, while for others, it could be just one of the best brands available. We have different products available. We like one of them the most. But why? It is only because of our perception. We perceive a particular product as the best product in our own eyes. Individuals with the same needs might not purchase similar products due to difference in perception. X and Y had a hectic day at work and thus wanted to have something while returning from work. X ordered a large chicken pizza. with French fries and soft drink, while Y preferred to have baked vegetable sandwich. Need is same, want is same, but the product which is going to satisfy them is different. X preferred something and Y preferred a different thing, though we are satisfying the same and similar need. Now, though both X and Y had the same motivation, hunger, because the need was there, hunger was there, but the product they purchased were entirely different. X perceived pizza to be a calorie-laden food. Individuals think differently and their perceptions do not match. Individuals perceive similar situation differently due to difference in the way they interpret information. There are three different processes which lead to difference in perception. The first one, selective attention. Selective attention refers to the process where individuals pay attention to information that is of use to them or their immediate family members. An individual in a single day is exposed to numerous advertisements, billboards, hoardings, etc. But he is interested in only those which would benefit him in any way. He would not be interested in information which is not relevant at the moment. Selective distortion. The second one is selective distortion. Consumers tend to perceive information in a way which would be in line to their existing thoughts and beliefs. Third one, selective retention. Consumers remember information which would be useful to them, rest all they forget in due course of time. X wanted to purchase a watch for his wife and thus he remembered a particular advertisement which he had seen several days ago, and then he decides to buy that particular brand of watch for his own wife. Today, viewers, we discuss the basics of consumer behavior. We discussed lot of factors which influence the behavior of consumer. I hope viewers with my lecture are benefited. Thank you so much.
With this note, thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for giving a precious time as well as precious inputs to this particular lecture on consumer behavior, as we have promised that we would be conducting more lectures on consumer behavior very soon. Till then, you stay connected to us. If you have any queries or any suggestions, then you can mail us at info.cc@nic.in. Your all questions are welcome over here. The next time when Dr. Kakkar visits our studio, we would definitely solve your queries if there are any. So keep mailing us, keep talking to us through mails. So with this note, we are taking your leave now. Take care. Goodbye. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.